Taking the pot off the stove to find out what's happening, you stuck a lid on it. And that lid's drugs and alcohol. And it's a really heavy lid because you use a lot of drugs and alcohol. Now Michael, what happens when you put a lid on a boiling pot? I was like, I don't know, you better check with the missus, she does the cooking. I didn't say that far. I just thought it, I never said it out loud. So when you put a lid on a boiling pot, pressure builds up and it explodes. And anyone who's standing close to the pot, your family, your friends, everyone gets burnt and it leaves a foul smell around the kitchen for months afterwards. You feel great, the pressure's gone. But everyone else lives with that effect. So what we got to do? Take the lid off the pot, take away the drugs and alcohol and find out why the pot was boiling in the first place. That was day one of my recovery. That was the first day that I was able to put down and keep it down. Now this is the story I tell in schools up and down the country without the swearing. I tell the school the story in schools. Why do I tell this story? Well, a couple of reasons. First off, we have to normalize with our kids that we're humans and we make mistakes. Our generation, we're so hooked up on being perfect in front of our kids and having all the answers for our kids, that our kids are thinking that they live in a perfect world and are the only ones who are broken. So we've got to normalize that everyone has problems. Second thing, we have to normalize the inner critic. Every single person in this room has an inner critic, that little voice that grinds us down on a daily basis. Every kid in New Zealand has that voice. But again, because we don't talk about it, our kids think they're the only ones going through it, man. So we've got to normalize that people have that. And the reason we need to talk about it is because by not talking about it, we're putting huge pressure on our kids. Here's what we know. Fact. 40% of kids in school will have a major crisis in their life that will often involve some type of suicidal thinking before they leave school. Not in their lifetime, before they leave school. So 40% of our kids will have a major crisis associated with some type of suicidal thinking, whether a one-off thought or recurring thought that grinds them down on a daily basis before they leave school. 40% of your kids. How many people find that concerning? How many people find that concerning because it has the word suicide in it? My next question is, why are you concerned, man? Why are you concerned? Why are you concerned? Why are we concerned? How many people in this room have never ever had a suicidal thought in their life? Ever? You sure, Fire? You sure? Are you sure? You ever been up on the top of the Sky Tower? No? Have you ever stood on the side of the road when those big logging trucks come past and hit you with the wind you didn't expect and thought, damn, I wonder what that would have felt like if it hit me? You never thought that? Then you need treatment. So two people who are known names, this beautiful pie here. So, if 95% of us have had a thought, and we're all still here, why the hell are we worried that our 40% of our kids are having a thought? A thought is just a thought. That's all it is, man. It's a thought. It's a thought. But our generation, because it has the word suicide in it, we've made it tapu. You can't talk about it. We've labelled it. We're telling kids now there's good thoughts and bad thoughts. There's no such thing as good thoughts and bad thoughts. They're just thoughts. You can't put labels on thought. That's a good thought, Alan. Good boy. You can think that's a bad thought. You can't think that thought. You're a naughty boy. Don't think that thought ever again. No more thinking about that. What happens when you tell a kid they can't think about something?
They do it.
They think about it, man. Go up to a 5-year-old kid and tell him, you can never think about ice cream ever again. See what happens. Go up to a 13-year-old boy and say, you can never think about titties again. See what happens. They'll be sitting there all day going, titties. Titties. Look, Alan, think about titties right now. Stop thinking about about titties for the rest of the day. A thought's a thought, man. There are no good thoughts, there are no bad thoughts. Kids ask me all the time, do you have suicidal thoughts? Mr. Hell yeah. Also think about killing my kids. That don't make me a killer. Don't look at me like that. You think about killing your kids. I know you think about killing your kids. You're allowed to think about killing your kids. Think about killing your kids don't make you a killer, make you a thinker. That's all it does. It's an option. You know, I think about punching the bastard that cut me off in traffic. I think about asking Angelina Jolie out on a date. I never do those things because, you know, it's just an option. So we've got to stop putting labels on thoughts. And as soon as we say that bad thoughts and good thoughts and putting labels on thoughts, what we're actually telling our kids is they can't ask about it. They can't ask about it. And that's the problem we got. So it's not the problem that 40% of our kids are having these thoughts. The real problem is 80% of those kids never ask for help ever. Ever. Why? Because they're worried about what we're going to say. They're worried about what we're going to do. And we don't have a great track record when it comes to kids, you know, dealing with their problems. You know, if we spaz out on a kid for leaving the dishes in the sink or socks on the floor or failing a maths test, why the hell would they come to us saying, hey, I'm thinking about killing myself? You know, everyone thinks attitudes have changed. Everyone thinks the attitudes have changed and things are more open now. It's just not true. It's not happening. And I can prove it's not happening. And 40% of our kids are having these thoughts in school before they leave school. Everyone in this room, everyone in this community must have been approached by a young kid at some stage going, hey man, I'm having these thoughts, Alan, can I talk to you about it? But 90% of us, that's never happened, ever, ever. And my question is why? How many people in this room, if you knew that a kid in this community was going through a hard time, was having bad thoughts, would do everything in your power to get them to a better place? How many of you? Huh? We all would, right? Here's the problem you got. Kids don't believe you. They don't believe you. They don't believe you. Buried one boy 2 weeks ago. He didn't believe that there was anyone there. So my question isn't to the government, what are the government doing, what are the health services doing, what's everyone else doing. My question in this room is what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing to make it easier for our kids to talk to us? What are we doing to make it easier for our mates to talk to us? It's not just kids that aren't asking, it's our mates. Our mates are all sitting there going, man, I've got this problem, but I don't want to be judged. So my challenge to this community and every community that I work in is, what are we doing? What are we doing? You know, we've become a society that thinks everyone else is going to fix problems, man. We've become a society that says we need more money to fix this problem. My suicide prevention strategy is the cheapest in the world. Cheapest in the world. And the best in the world, because changing your attitude costs nothing. It costs nothing, it's free. Changing how you connect with people, not just kids, but your mates, costs you nothing. I remember when I was in my darkest moments, sitting in a room by myself, just wanting to shut the world out, just wanting it all to end. The only thing I wanted in that moment was one of my friends to walk through the door and remind me that I was a good person. Remind me that I was going to be okay. So my message to everyone here, man, check in on your friends, check in on your friends, check in on your friends. Remind them, man. Remind them how much they mean to you. Tell them how much you love them. Look at your friends and go, hey dude, you know what makes what I love about you, bro? Every time you walk in the room, man, your smile just warms me, man. It just warms me. Remind people. That's the only thing that can get through that inner critic. Only thing. And that's what we need to be doing. Any questions? Anyone got any questions? Ask anything you like. I love this bit. I know some of you fellas sitting there going, just ask me, shut up, bro. Everyone looking, man, just shut up, man.
Yep.
Yep.
Do you remember that first joke you told?
No, not really. It was just a school joke, bro. You know, probably a knock-knock joke. I think it was the Māori knock-knock joke. You had the Māori knock-knock joke? You had the Māori knock-knock joke? You started.
No.
I'm already in now. You know, we're Māori, we don't knock. Straight through that window. Anyone else got a question? Anything? Ask me anything. Yes?
I want to ask you how your wife was when you were going through this.
Babe. Question for you. Come on. This is my wife. Come on. The question. You ask the question?
Well, I just wondered how she coped when you were going through that, recognising what was happening.
No. We still live with it.
Well, we both go through it, so I'm kind of lucky that I have been through depression, so I understand the whole life gets into, rather than being, it's really hard when someone doesn't get it, and I think sometimes the hardest thing is to be the support person. So, because I've been on both sides of it, when Mike's feeling like that, I'll buy him a book, get him out of bed. I know that his safe place is going to be just highway in the world. I mean, especially with who Mike is and what he's doing, it's 24/7. So I go into look after the house, look after the road, and go to bed, read.
Answer the emails, take the phone off me, you know, all of those
I've
things.
taken the phone off him before, even from answering calls from his family, from his children. It doesn't go down too well sometimes when it's me. I'm going, sorry, your dad's out of action, he's in bed. But I'm lucky because I know, and it's the shoe's been on the other foot before when I've been in a dark place. And Mike's done the same for me. He was doing another's club and he just stopped doing Sunday nights at another's club because he knew he needed to be home a bit more and take some of the load off me. So it's bloody hard no matter which camp you're in, being in the hole, being a support person. But yeah, in some ways we're both fortunate because of that. Yeah.
Only one thing worse than having depression, and that's living with someone who has depression and not knowing what to do, and them not admitting it. You know, that's my big thing. Like, she knows when I'm going into the hole before I do. You know, I just keep going forward, and you know, and then eventually everything turns to shit for everybody. So, you know, she gets me. Anyone else? Anything? So my final message to everyone here today, very simple, man. Our kids are perfect. They are perfect. Your kids are perfect. I know most of you have had self-esteem issues your whole life. I know most of you, your relationships with the significant males in your life hasn't been that great either. You know, it's a generational thing. You know, like when I had my first lot of kids, I always said to myself, you know, I'm going to be different to my old man. I'm going to do things different from my old man. But sadly, you can only teach what you've been taught. And, you know, the default with my old man was to put down. And so when I was under pressure about anything, I'd take it out on my kids too. I put them down. But 3 generations of kids. 3 generations. My eldest is 31, 27, and 20. My next generation is 16 and 14. And my 3rd generation is, I've got a 6-year-old moko, I've got a 4-year-old moko, I've got a 6-month-old moko, and that's my 4-year-old baby girl down there. That's right, ladies, the old boy's still 5. You say hello to everybody. Hello. And she's a perfect demonstration of the difference in my kids. My eldest kids, they have mental health issues, man. They have mental health issues, depression, anxiety, suicidal thinking, it runs in our family, but they have issues. My middle kids, they have little bits of anxiety, social anxiety. They're 14 and 16-year-old girls, so they have issues. This 4-year-old, completely different. She's got no problems now. She's probably going to have problems later on, but right now she got no issues. So I look at these 3 generations of kids and I think to myself, well, what's the difference in these 3 generations? Is it economics? Well, with these kids, I was a millionaire. I was doing my stand-up comedy. I was on TV. I had heaps of money. Holiday homes, VA, motorbike, I had everything. With these kids down here, broke, living in South Auckland, so it's not money. Education. Everyone say education. That's the next big one. These kids all went to their old schools. St. Cuthbert School for girls, Diocesan School for girls, Mount Albert Grammar. These ones here, Papatoetoe South. They're sold 2 all day. Not school. So the more you look at it, the more you go, what is it? And it's simple. What is it? It was me. The only thing that changed in these 3 generations of kids' lives is me. With these kids, I was my dad. My house, my rules, because I said so. Don't you speak unless you're spoken to, mate. Who the hell do you think you are? If you don't like it, mate, there's the door. Walk out that door, I'll boot your ass. I was my dad. That was it. All stick. When these other 2 kids came along, some Sheila Sue Bradford said you can't smack them anymore. So suddenly you have to let them have their say. Yeah, have your say, champ, go for it. Oh, you cheeky little whore. Oh, yeah, what else you got? Oh, is that right, is it? Oh, is that right? Oh, is that right? You finished? Oh, no. Keep going. You finished now? You finished now, though, eh? You finished now? Good, no. Pretending like I'm listening, but not really. Well, with this one here, man, her thoughts and opinions are valued. She feels like she has a sense of place. No, where you fellas go? Where you fellas go? No, she hasn't had her say yet. Come on, I know she's only 4. Come on, listen. What do you think of Donald Trump? The old me would never have allowed my child to be running around something like this and doing what she's doing now. It would never have happened. Not only would I be snapping her off, I'd be snapping the mother off for allowing it to happen. But she ain't annoying anyone, and look at her, man. She's her own person. What are we doing here today, Bubba? What are we talking about?
I am hope.
Yeah, and I am hope's good, eh? Yeah, we're going to be the hope for everybody, aren't we, my darling? They're perfect. The only thing that's going to stop this kid from being perfect is me. I don't tell her what to do. I got to negotiate with her. She's better negotiated than half the CEOs I know, bro. I got to please. No. Please. And I can't bribe her, That makes me a better person. And it'll make you a better person too. The way you treat your kids make you a better person. Man, I feel so proud of myself having this girl, and being a better dad. It bugged me that, I can't take back what I did with the other kids, but, man, I can change, and if I can change, anyone can change. That's what our whole thing is about. Whakaho whakaro, whakaho ao. Change attitudes, man, change the world. You change your attitude. I know because of, your fellow's background, that there are people in this society that look at you and judge you. But when I look at you fellas, all I see is potential, man. Potential. Tons of it. All you just need is people to believe, man. Well, there are people like us who believe, man. Don't be fooled into thinking that everyone in society is telling you. That's your inner critic that's telling you that. That's not us, man. There's people like us that believe. So fuck what they're saying, man. Seriously. Believe, man, and take that special thing you got and pass it on to your kids and have them rise up, man. That's what this is all about. It's about, okay, I made my mistakes, but I'm gonna do my thing. I'm gonna be the role model. So that's our message. You tell everyone you love them. You love them? They love you, I love you. Alright. Thank you very much for listening. We're going to be here for a while, so if you've got any questions you'd like to ask, you can ask it. There's some sheets down there. About a parent's guide to teenage depression and teenagers' guide to depression. If you grab them, on every sheet's my phone number. Every kid in every school gets my phone number. You get my phone number. My email address is there. If you want to ask any questions, don't hesitate, man. Don't hesitate. If you're down in the hole and you think things are going to take a bad turn, man, text me anytime, day or night. My wife will tell you, man, I answer them all. 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm texting. Who are you texting? Oh, just some other follower. So text me anytime. Love you guys. Thank you for listening.